Recording is on. Shalom and good day, everyone. We're coming here before you today um, to learn the Most High Calendar. We are still in First Enoch chapter 74 to finish up the remaining verses. And what you see before you is, I really like this picture, even though it's not totally correct. One of my sisters pointed out that we know through the prophet Enoch that the new moon is the moon increasing light, that is a crescent, and that would fall here. But what I noticed about this picture, I like how they show you the 29.5 days, which is very important when you're looking at biblical prophecies and you're looking at the Most High calendar, and then you begin to understand why the moon has 29 or 30 days now, okay? Also, in the beginning of time, when things was perfected or perfect, this is before the fall of Adam or before they came along, we know the moon was 360 days. All right, just like the sun is 364 days. But some things has happened, and through his prophets, they reveal unto you the change. Okay. So what I like about this picture, that it shows you that half day. I love that. And then they showed you like the illumination percentage, and I was noticing how most of the numbers you can add 7 to get the next percentage. Not all, but most. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So the title of this class lesson today is, let me go to my title page so I can get the right title right here, is the East Point. That's right. We got to talk about the East Point, y'all. And that's with the sun moving to Mazarov, okay, because it's going to happen soon again. And light and darkness, altered settings, and peculiar course of the moon. Okay, that is the title of the class today. We're going to talk about the East Point, light and darkness, altered settings, and peculiar course of the moon. So with that in mind, some other announcements I have to announce unto you. We will not be having class for the entire month of the 7th of the Most High calendar, known as Ethanim in the Hebrew tongue. The Babylonian tongue, it would say Tishri. So we're going to take some time off to rest in God for his holy days, okay? And remember, we keep his holy days now in spirit and truth. That's a mystery for many. When you come into whole writing the book of the 1611, and as well as reading the other sacred writings like Josephus, Enoch, Jubilees, many others, okay? You will begin to learn that you are to graduate just like his servant Job was to graduate. You're to come from the carnal now to the spiritual. So the Messiah set the example unto you how to keep these days now, okay? So some other announcements is recently there was a video put out. I want you to check it out because I want you to hear Brother Malachi Maccabee confession and journey on studying Yahuwah's / Enoch's calendar. I mean, he said some very interesting things. Finally, we have an Israelite brother coming out telling y'all what not only myself, but many others have been saying for years, but no one would address it. So hopefully he can get some people attention. Well, get the brother's attention to get them to finally address it, okay? However, in the video, it's going to reveal something else. Another thing that many are not paying attention to, because this was not noticeable. It takes about 20 years, maybe 10 years you can see it, but it really takes about 20 years because they're going to find out even through the other way of keeping the Most High calendar, they're going to run into the same issue if, they do the calendar a certain way. All right, I won't say enough on that. Then the next thing is that we have another proof or evidence that the heavens do produce the 13th month by looking at the date of the desolation / besiege of Jerusalem by the Romans. So check that out. So now we have history on the table. So the heavens and earth, math, the prophets, now history will confirm unto us that the Most High calendar consists of the 3 lights, which is the sun, the moon, and Mazarov. And I also want to put the Dead Sea Scrolls on the table too. It will also confirm that. So you can add that to your resource list. And then last week when we came together, we talked about the moon. For she is known as the beauty of heaven, glory of stars in 1 Enoch chapter 74. And there's a mystery into that, because through that lesson, we learn why do the prophet Enoch says that there's a man in her, or that we can see the man in the moon. I think it's like for like 20 days, something like that. So you need to ask yourself, why would the Father put a he in the sheep? What did that mean? So that mystery is revealed. Then several weeks back, the Father revealed unto me what is upon the earth now. So this video is going to talk about the dream that the Father gave unto me, so that way you can be prepared, because y'all, things are winding up. Because recently in the Dead Sea, the water has turned into blood. So you definitely want to check that out. That's on the channel. Go in the community tab and you'll see that. For those who's on Facebook, it's on my Facebook channel, and it's also on the Messiah Temple of Zion channel as well. So you can pay attention to that sign, because when I saw that sign, it reminded me what the Father did with Egypt. So he's letting me know too, judgment will be coming to that area as well. Okay, so remember, when you see blood, it means that they would pay for their sins and transgression by their blood being spilt. Read Leviticus chapter 16, chapter 17, Revelation chapter 14, and Matthew chapter 13. Okay, so dealing with East Point. When we go to the calendar, we'll give you the date. As far as the heathen date, it is September the 18th in the year of 2020 AD. We are in the daylight of the phase, okay? But the heathens start that day from midnight to midnight, but we are the children of light. We don't follow that, okay? So far as the year, the Adamic year, we are in the 8th day, and that starts in the 7,001st year, in the 8,000 year. When we convert that to the creation date, we are in the 13th day of creation, and that starts on 13,000 to 13,999. As far as prophecies, we are in Enoch's 8th week of the 10-week prophecy. And as far as the 7-day prophecy, we are in the 5th day, if that's what I have so far on the top of my head. Okay, so we have that year down. As far as the date for today, we are in the 6th month, the Most High count, known as Elul, and Elul means nothingness. We are in the 2nd week of his calendar month, okay? And let me see where we'll line up at. So his day began on 17/18, which would fall on day 11, if I have this correct. Day 11, okay? 17/18, make sure, 17/18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, yep. Day 11 of the 6th month. As far as the date of the sun is in his 6th month and 26th day. As far as the date of the heathen, it falls on September the 17th to September the 18th, from sundown to sundown. And we're still in summertime. Okay. As far as the date in the sun's 6th month, remember what Enoch wrote unto you. So on the 16th day of the 6th month, this is where you're going to see the sun rise directly on the east point. So you want to get up early and see where the sun rises, because it only does it twice in a year. It does it on the spring equinox day, and it does it on the fall equinox day, where the sun is going to rise directly on the east point. So you want to take pictures, get your landmark, so you know where your east point is. Okay. So this sign takes place on the last day of the sun's 6th month. So this is the last day of summertime. So the next day following after that, on day 17 of the 6th month, this is the first day of fall, marking the sun's 7th month and first day, which falls on the heathen day, September the 23rd to September the 29th. So already you're going to see a lot of the Jewish, known as the YAHUAH, and other Israelites, they're going to be keeping tabernacles out of season, because tabernacles have to be kept in fall. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, we're going to open up in prayer. I want y'all to face the east. Okay. Let me get my picture right. I want y'all to face the east. I ask my brothers to uncover your head for You are made in the image of Yahuwah. Okay. To my sisters, I ask that you uncover your head, for we are the glory of Adam. Okay. Meaning that when we cover our head, we are signifying that we are under the power or under the authority of Adam. In other words, what's fair for the goose is fair for the gander. We fall under the same powers and protection that is given unto Adam. Excuse me, y'all, for my tongue. Given unto Adam, so the same thing is be the same for you. You'll follow that same power and protections, signifying to those angels they are not to touch you or mess with you. Okay. For those who are not able to participate in that sign, you are covered under the new covenant, and this reach out to the Father to give you understanding why we do that. For those who are in prison or on their sick bed who can't do the sign, you are covered too. Again, we have to understand the mysteries of the new covenant. When you understand that, then you will know that when the day do come in his eternal kingdom, we will keep these things that he ordered us, because the physical things go in hand with the spiritual things. All right, my sister, take over. Face east, y'all. And east is where the sun rises or where you see the light in the sky rise.
Okay. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So be it. Okay, so what we're going to do first, y'all, I'm going to open up unto y'all first, so y'all can hear my two sisters' testimony. I know I had shared with y'all before, but I think y'all want to hear it based on the season that we're in and based on how things are really hyping up now. So Sister Felicia and Sister Nay, forgive me, y'all. It's y'all, I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking kind of slow this morning for some reason. But if y'all can share with our brothers and sisters of what you have learned about this last wicked one to come that is mentioned in, I know it's in the book of John, 1 John chapter 2. Okay, so go ahead and take over.
I remember when I was 16, I decided to get into the Word myself and seek the Father myself. And I came across, I think I started with Revelation, and I got hooked, I didn't want to put it down. And I remember coming across, I believe it was in Revelation 12:9, and I was reading about how Satan's going to deceive the whole world. And I remember praying to the Father, like, I don't want to be deceived, how he's going to deceive the whole world. And I just remember I was laying down, I wasn't asleep. And one day he came to me in a vision, and he showed me how he showed me two figures. It was supposed to both represent what the world's of the Messiah. I remember seeing one came first, and then there was another one that came that was second behind the first one. And I remember they both were supposed to represent the Messiah. And I just remember the world being drawn to the first one, because I remember hands reaching up and accepting the first one and rejecting the second one. And as soon as one of the hands grabbed onto the first one, um, everything in my body just like froze, and everything just went black and white. And that shows me that the first one that everyone thought was the right one wasn't. They was fooled. Uh, and I just remember everything just, I couldn't move. I just remember everything in my vision just was black and white. I couldn't see nothing no more but black and white. And that's all I can remember about my vision from back then. And It just goes back to other scriptures I read about how the Messiah, um, you know, the Antichrist won't be able to raise the dead. Like, we have to pay attention to what the scripture says, what the word says, how the Antichrist will come. And one of the things I remember reading, he won't be able to raise the dead. You know, the true Messiah, he's going to have his wounds from when he was crucified and everything. And I just remember most of the world, because I remember it was seeing a bunch of everyone receiving and accepting the first one, and everyone rejecting but a few the second one. I just remember when everyone embraced the first one that came, my whole body just went numb and black and white. That's all I remember seeing. That's all I remember about my vision that I wanted to share.
So what I've noticed reading in the other books about the anti-Messiah and for what's about to come, what I found out in the Apocalypse of John the Righteous, that John the Baptist had a vision about what the anti-Messiah looked like, just like, you know, in the book of Revelation, he had a vision about what the real Messiah looks like. Well, the anti-Messiah, he's going to be black. So, and then in Apocalypse of Thomas, the other one of the lost books, I'm pretty sure that, you know, people have not read. If you can, you know, take a look and get the copy of Apocalypse of Thomas and the Apocalypse of the Righteous, it will give you some clear insight of what the anti-Messiah will look like and how he's going to come. And he's going to come just like the real Messiah has came, you know, back in the day. So he's going to emulate the real Messiah of making false displays, and it's going to be the same thing how the scripture talks about Matthew 24, that the sun and the moon shall be darkened and the stars will fall out the sky. Where the Apocalypse of Thomas talks about the same introduction as when the anti-Messiah comes. So, you know, be careful because they're going to look the same. So that's my testimony in these scriptures.
Thank you, my sisters. To the family who is listening, please pay attention to what they share with y'all, because y'all, we can see things are really heightening up, and now our faith is going to be tested more than ever before. So prepare your heart, your mind, and your soul. Okay. All right, let's get into it. We're going to talk about the East Point right quick. East Point. This is something very simple. So I gave you the date when you're going to see the sun rise on the equinox day. Okay, so that date has been given. If you don't remember, just rewind the video and you'll see the date. Okay, because it's going to happen on the 16th day of the 6th month, Elul, the 16th day of the moon. Okay, I also give you the date of when it happens on the sun, and I give you the date on when it happens with the Gentiles. Okay, so that way you can go out and observe the heavens, and you can see where your East Point is. I also recommend that you read YAHUAH prophetic messages, because those who've been observing the heavens, so I'm talking about for a long time, we have a lot of tribes here in the earth who use the heavens as their calendar, and they would tell you that they noticed that there was a shifting taking place where they used to see the sun rise in the East Point or on the equinox day. They don't see it rising there. It moved to a new era after, like, I'm talking about like many years past. So it's aligning up to what the prophet spoken to the prophetess who spoke that message. And it is a sign unto you, Yashrael, to let you know you have not been restored in your proper place. You are still scattered among the heathen. And this is why all these things are out of order. So this is how the heaven is manifesting a sign unto you, as well as the earth. She's manifesting a sign unto you, letting you know things are still out of order. Okay. So that's something it's very easy to do. Just get up early, I know we still in daylight saving hours, so they had pushed the clock backwards. So it's like an hour early, but just convert that time so you know what's a true hour, because pretty soon when they move the time forward, it's going to be the correct time. So you can get an idea in what hour do the sun rise. Does he rise in the 6th hour? Okay, that's what I'm looking at. Does he rise in the 6th hour? I mean, you want to see these things, how these things fall into into place. Now, keep in mind with the Israelites, they didn't have minutes or seconds; they went by the hour. So even if it rises in the 6:59 hour, like 6 hours and 59 minutes, it's still in the 6th hour. Okay, so remember, we don't have like the minutes or second. We went by the hours. All right. First Enoch chapter 74. Let's get right into it. We're going to look at verse 3. Is it verse 3? Make sure. Yep, verse 3. So to read a 1, I'm going to have you to read verse 3. We'll blow this up first. So those who are watching at home, they can follow along. So we're in verse 3. All right. Read a 1.
It's not on the screen.
Oh, thank you. Maybe that would help. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes. In single 7th parts, she accomplishes all her light in the east, and in single 7th parts accomplishes all her darkness in the west.
All right. Let me go back. Okay. So in verse C is giving us some information about the moon, like how does she receive a light, okay, and how does she become dark. All right. So when we look at this verse, some keywords are sticking out to me, and it's kind of interesting how they use this word when they translate. They said single 7th parts. So when you trying to understand what is single 7 parts, especially with an S, so it's letting me know it's many parts, but what does it say unto us? Well, you have to watch the videos from First Enoch chapter 73 to understand this part. So unto my family, I will see, and y'all can go ahead and pull up your notes from First Enoch chapter 73. What do y'all think that 7 part is from? What is talking about? What do y'all think?
Talks about the 7th part of the sun, of light.
Okay, we're gonna put that down as a note, like I said. What else y'all think it relates to?
On the moon.
So when we meditate on this, we can see this thing being expressed, because the Father loved the number 7 because 7 has been a sanctified number unto him. It is a holy number unto him. It's perfected, right? And it represents what's going to take place with Adon. Okay, so even in his calendar, when you look at these 3 lights, we can see 7 being expressed in the calendar. So I'm glad my sister mentioned the sun, because what we learn about the moon, she gets her light from a heat. Okay, and that light she gets from the sun is only a 7th portion. Okay, so imagine you have a pie and it's divided into 7 slices. So of that pie, she gets 1 slice of pie from the sun to get her light. Now, when she gets that 1 slice of pie, what the moon does, she's going to chop it up into pieces. But when she add all the pieces of that 7 part, it makes her to become full of light. So this is why the sentence is written like this: in single 7 parts, the accumulation of all these parts, or all that part that she chopped up, adding all that together, she becomes a full moon in the east. In the east. Now, when we read 1 John chapter 73, verse 6, okay, we learned where that 7th part come from. Okay, it's a 7 of the half of the moon's light. So I convert this, what would y'all get? Do y'all remember what we got?
Going through my notes now.
So as y'all going through your notes, I'm going to give you the answer. I want you to highlight this. 1 Enoch chapter 73, verse 6. A 7th of half of the moon light is 1/14. 1/14. 1/14 represent your 7 parts. 1/14 represent the 7 parts. Okay? So what the moon does with this 7 part, she's going to add 1/14 of the light that she chopped up from the sun. She's going to add 1/14 to herself each day. I'm going to change that to herself each day. And in those charts that I show you in 1 Enoch chapter 73, you will see that how the 1/14 add up. You know, they all add up to like 1/7. Then you get 2 7s, 3 7s, 4 7s, etc. You will see that being displayed. You will see the theme of 7. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. So when we look at this sentence, she receives these 7 parts with an S. So all these parts are added together, and when she receives all of it, she becomes a full moon. In what direction, y'all? What direction does the moon show herself as the full moon?
In the east point.
In the east. In the east. Okay. Then from that point, she's gonna do the opposite. Okay. She's gonna do what? What happens after the full moon?
She's going to go back to the west point, to the waning.
Okay. She's gonna be working herself
Backwards,
back
waning.
to going along with the sun. Okay. But right now, when she's in the east as a full moon, is she near the sun or opposite from the sun?
Opposite.
Opposite. That's very important for you to know. Okay. So she's opposite from the sun. Over here, see verse Enoch 3:6. So after she rises in the east, the full moon is full of light. What's going to happen now after from that point in the next day? Look at your sentence.
Oh, was she going backwards? She going to go back to the waning, decreasing the light, going back to the dark moon?
That's right. So after she becomes full of light on the next following day, she's going to start decreasing herself in light. Okay. And her light going to be fully removed. In other words, she going to have no light upon her when she gets to the west. So all this is accomplished in the west direction. This is where she loses her light. Okay. So in the east direction, this is where she gains her light. But in the west direction, she's going to lose her light. This is how we're able to see her to be decreased from day to day after the full moon. Okay. This verse is telling you something important. So it let us know that she will accomplish, or she completes of receiving all her light in the east. Then she does the opposite in the west. She accomplishes, or she completes of getting or to become dark in the west. So she's going to lose her light. Okay. Now we're going to read verse 4. Reader 2. Let me highlight it.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
And it says in certain months she alters her settings, and in certain months she pursues her own peculiar course.
Now this verse gonna tell you a whole lot. Let's go back to the notes. Let's see what this verse is going to tell us. Some key words that should stick out unto you are certain months, alter her settings, and pursues her own particular course. These key words should stick out unto you. So what verse 4 is doing is letting us know there are certain months. Now, how many months does the moon have, y'all?
13?
Months. It could be 12 or 13.
12, 13.
That's correct. It could be 12 or 13 months, right? Okay.
Yes.
So 12 or 13. By knowing this, verse 4 is telling us of those 12 or 13 months, in certain months or some of those months of the 12 or 13, she's going to change her settings. So when we look at the word settings, it means what she's going to change her going downs. Okay. So that's letting me know it's dealing with direction. She's going to change it. Okay. And that happens in certain months. Then this same sentence is also letting us know that in certain months, she's going to pursue her own particular course. So her course or her path is going to differ from the sun. So it's going to differ from the sun. Okay. Very important to know. But it's letting us know this is only going to take place in certain months. This is the law. This is the commandment of the moon. Remember, all things come from heaven above. She still operates under the will of Yah. So as you see in the notes, that this verse here, verse 4, is expounded or will be explained by verses 5 to 8. So we're going to see how she does this. Okay. Okay, let's get to verse 5. Reader 1, or have you read verse 5.
In 2 months, the moon sets with the sun. And those 2 middle doors, the third and fourth.
Okay. So in verse 5, it says, in 2 months, the moon sets with the sun. And those 2 middle doors, the third and fourth. That remind me, I need to pull up Charles' copy of this verse just to compare, see if it's a little bit different. Sorry about that, y'all. I forgot to pull this one up. So we are in, hold on for 1 minute, y'all. Sis, I'm going to have you to save some time, y'all. If y'all don't mind, go ahead and read verse to the next read verse 6 and just pause there, okay?
Okay. Can't see it on the screen. Okay. Verse 6, it says, she goes out for 7 days and turns about and returns again through the door where the sun rises, and all her light is full, and she recedes from the sun, and in 8 days enters the 6th door from which the sun goes out.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the rest so you each y'all can take turn to read the verse, and just hold on. I have something to come up. I got to handle right quick. It won't take long.
And when the sun goes out from the 4th door, she goes out 7 days until she until she goes out from the 5th and turns back again in 7 days into the 4th door and accomplishes all her lights. And she recedes and entered into the 1st door in 8 days.
Verse 8, it says, and she returns again in 7 days into the 4th door from which the sun goes out.
Thus I saw their position, how the moon rose and the sun set in those days.
Verse 10, it says, and if 5 years are added together, the sun has an excess of 30 days, and all the days which accrue to it for one of those 5 years, when they are full, amount to 364 days.
Verse 11 and 8.
I'm going to have you got to pause there. I'm almost done. Hold on.
Okay.
I am so sorry about that, everybody. This is one of the days where I'm multitasking, and I had to take care of it right quick. But anyway, it all worked out to the Father's will. So going back to the notes, looking at verse 5, I know I was pulling up Charles' translation, also Enoch's writings for chapter 74. Let us go there just to compare. Let's see. Hold on, y'all. Sorry about that again. All right. I'm getting back on track. Okay. All right. We're going to 74. And looking at verse 5. Is this the right one? No, that's 24. I'm sorry. I went too high up. Let's see here. Okay, 71, 74. There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. So looking at 74, we're looking at verse 5. So it's about the same. Okay. It says, in 2 months, the moon sets with the sun in those two middle portals, the third and the fourth. So we already explained that portal means door, which is the left. Okay. So I like how Lumpkin used the word door instead of portal because it gets us to think back to the Hebrew. So I like that. So going back to the notes, notice it said in 2 months. These are some key words that should get your attention. The moon sets with the sun. So we know set means to go down, or that the moon go down with the sun. So it does this in 2 months. And then we have a colon, so it's going to expound more on this information here. And it goes on to say in those two middle doors, the third and the fourth. So those who've been following along with us, according to the notes that we learned from First Enoch chapter 74, we learn about the doors. There are 6 doors in the east and 6 doors in the west. But this is dealing with what, y'all? This is dealing with the 2 middle doors where the moon set with the sun. Okay, so to find out what are the 2 months, we got to look at the diagram. Okay, so we look at the diagram. So okay, let me ask y'all this, family. What direction does the moon sets with the sun? Or what direction does the moon go down with the sun?
West Point.
The
West.
The west. Okay, so by knowing this, we're going to the diagram and look at the area that deals with the west direction. So according to the Senate, it always told us which 2 doors. It is the third and the fourth door. So what 2 months do y'all think in the third and fourth door that the moon go down with the sun?
The 6 months.
Wait a minute, somebody said something?
The 6 month.
6 months? Do I have any other answers for this?
6th and 7th month.
Okay, somebody saying 6 months and the 7th. Looking at the diagram, I think I need to blow this up so people can see this at home.
Yeah.
I believe it's the 1st month and the 7th month.
You said the 1st month which falls in door 4, and the 7th month falls in door 3. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I see it now.
Now, my next question to you is, are these months that's listed in this diagram, is that dealing with the sun or the moon? Based on the notes. These are the notes that came from First Enoch chapter 72, y'all.
That's dealing with the sun.
Dealing with the sun. So now that we know that these months that's listed in this diagram is dealing with the sun, okay, are you going to stand by your answer of saying that it is the first month and 7th month?
Well, I was just thinking about the spring and the fall equinox.
Okay.
Yeah.
You on point. You on point. I'm giving you a hint. You on point. Now, what does Enoch say about these equinox days? Or where you have daylight equal to night. Let me bring this chart up for you. I made this chart for y'all. When we have daylight equal to night, okay, when did this sign take place? What day of the month does it take place in the sun?
6 months.
6 months.
Okay, but what day in the 6th month?
On the 16th day.
You're thinking about the calendar date.
Oh, okay.
And then, okay, and that's the date of the moon.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at this diagram here. Based on what y'all know, remember them notes. What did Enoch tell us? When the sun entered to the first sign of Mazzaroth,
after the 30
and when the
days.
sun entered into the 7th sign of Mazzaroth, what day did that take place in the sun's month?
The 31st. The
31st. So it happens in the sun's last day of its month, right? So if it happened in the sun's last day in this month, because somebody mentioned that they know that that question I asked has to do something with the equinox day, right? So what are the 2 months that the sun, that the moon go down with the sun?
That's a good question.
The 6th, is it the 6th or 7th and the 12th month?
It said 2 months, y'all.
So the 6th month and the 12th
Remember,
month?
Okay, you said it, but you're not saying it with confidence.
Oh, the 6th month.
You say it with confidence.
The 6th month and the 12th month.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the 6th month and the 12th month, because when you read First Enoch chapter 72, in this last day of the 6th month and the last day of the sun's 12th month, that's when you have the sun enter into the sign of Mazzaroth, which is the first sign, Aries, and the 7th sign is Libra. Okay. So when we look back at verse 5, it said, well, in 2 months, right? The moon going to set with the sun. So it's going to go down with the sun. All right. And it is going to expound on that. In those 2 middle doors, the 3rd and the 4th. So this is some good information to add to our chart now. Okay. So these are the 3rd and the 4th door. And I need to put another row. Let me move this bar out my way. It's all in my way. And I'll try to add a row, y'all. Let's see here. Okay. So when I add this row, I'm gonna combine these 2 columns. So I know that these two doors are the middle doors. Okay, they're known as the middle door. And this is going to deal with with this diagram, this part is dealing with the west. Okay, this is dealing with the west. In the east, it's going to be the same thing. Those two are going to be the middle doors of the east. Important to know this. Okay. So we identified the 2 months are, we said it is, make sure I remember correctly. I'm gonna have to do it like this: 12 month, and you can see why I'm doing it like this. Then the 6 month. And how I remember this, y'all, the sign of Mazzaroth will appear the day before the next month. So if the sign of Mazzaroth is 1, then it's going to appear in the 12th month. If the sign of Mazzaroth is 7, it's going to appear in the 6th month. See what I'm saying? That's how I can remember this. So that's why you see me putting 12 first, then the 6th month, okay, of the sun. And I should put here, this is very important to know. So the 12th month will be associated with sign 1 of Mazzaroth. And the 6th month is going to be associated with sign 7 of Mazzaroth. Very important to know. Okay. Why do we feel like this particular event of the moon does this in the 12th month and the 6th month of the sun? Why do y'all think it does that? What do you get from your gut, which is the spirit, where the spirit dwells? Huh?
Dealing with the 2 times with the equinox.
That's right. So we're going to say Tekafah, I'm going to say equinox, and then I'm going to put Tekafah, because Tekafah is dealing with the year's end. Okay, that's when the sun completes its circuit. Okay. Because we know this is the time where the sun is going to reset himself. Okay. All right. We ought to clarify the direction that the moon was set with the sun, when we can see this happening with our own eyes. Okay. In the heavens, we can see, depending on lighting and everything else. Okay. So what phase of the moon sets with the sun that we know of? What is the phase? Is it the crescent? Is it the half moon? Is it the full moon? Is it the waning half moon? Or is it the dark moon? Okay.
Dark moon.
Dark.
So it's that dark moon. Do I have any other answer?
Is there going to be two sets? Is there going to be like two sets of phases?
And no, it's not going to be two sets of phases. So when we think about it, let me think, because I have to remember. When we look at the new moon crescent in the west, the only way we can see it is when the sun go down, right?
Yes.
And it's up for a while. So here's the test. Sister Nave may be on to something. And I want to make sure, because the answer I had in mind was a different answer. I ain't gonna lie. But as I'm reading this, it's saying that the moon sets with the sun. And she does this in two middle doors. Okay. So with this answer, since we coming up with the equinox day, we're going to hold out and see what we get. Thank you, Father, because this is perfect timing. So, Sister Nay, hold on to your answer.
Okay.
We'll see what we get.
Okay.
On the equinox day. And to make sure we observe this correctly, just for comparison, take your notes the day before the equinox and take your notes on the equinox day. So what I'm going to do, as far as my homework, I'm going back and review First Enoch chapter 72 to make sure I review this at the correct day and time. And we're going to compare notes. So
Okay.
for our family who's watching it, let's see what is the moon phase that sets with the sun or goes down with the sun. What is it? Because we got to explain why. Is it a dark moon or is that new moon crescent? Let's see. All right, so we got that question out in limbo. As you see the notes, I just put the word to left, let us know like dealing with door, okay? And with something about that fourth door, y'all. Yeah, the fourth door is known as the great door. It contains the 12 windows when you look at the prior notes. And then we look at the minutes, started in the east. It's like a circle, okay? When the sun goes around its circuit, in the first quarter, you get 360 minutes. When the sun comes to the west, you'll get 720 minutes, okay? And that would give you 12 hours. 12 hours. Okay. Now, when the sun goes down the west, the sun, he is still moving in his circuit, but we can't see it now because he has left through one of these doors, one of the 6 western doors. He leaves out of that, but he continues on his circuit in the heavens, and he won't rise out of the, he won't rise. I'm sorry. He will continue from west to north, back to the east, and come out of one of the 6 eastern doors. Okay. So the prophet also too explaining why we don't see the sun moving for the rest of the day. Remember, day is made up of night and daylight. Night and daylight. Okay. Then from this point from the west, if you go to the first quarter, which is towards the north, you get 360 minutes. And when that part is completed, you get a total of 720 minutes, which is 12 hours. So we have a beginning and we have an end, which makes a whole day. Beginning and end. Okay. Go back to Genesis chapter 1. That's your foundation. So let me see if anything else I need to add with these middle doors. So looking at these middle doors, we're looking at the 6th month. That makes sense. The 6th month and 12th month, because this is not the mid part of the year. No matter how you look at it, when you look at silver year compared to the Israelite year, 6 is halfway and 12 is halfway. Makes sense, don't it? Middle doors. Y'all see that?
Yes, I seen it. That's how I figured. I
Yeah.
was doing it like
Yeah.
half point. That's how I was doing it, half of half.
I need to put my unit so you know why I put 6 and 12, so people won't get confused with the doors. Okay. Now this makes perfect sense. So as we proceed further, we soon be able to identify what is like to the right of these doors when you face it, what direction that is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and merge that. And the same thing over here. We're going to merge this. Because since we get into our equinox state, as the months go by, we want to see how the sun is going to rise, right? Now, where does the sun rise, y'all?
East.
West.
Wait a minute, say that again, y'all.
I said east.
The sunrise in the west.
Okay, sunrise in the east, right? Okay, and I do need to underline this word and probably put it in red.
Look at the sun.
This is our east point. Okay, this is your east point right here. Your east point. Okay. Very important to see this, okay? Because here we see in the 6th month, on this last day, you have 9 parts equal to 9 parts. Then on the 12th, in the 12th month, same thing, 9 parts equal to 9 parts. Now, I am aware of what's going on now, and we have already talked about that. But for the family who's watching, to find that answer, you're going to have to read Genesis, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. And you're also going to have to read Enoch's writings, 1st book, 2nd book, and 3rd book. Then you're going to understand. Oh, and lastly, that's the most important thing what the Father told me. You're going to have to listen to YAHUAH prophetic message dealing with the message to the 12 tribes of Israel to understand why we don't have equal parts of daylight to equal parts of night now. And I already given that answer before in the video. And it's dealing with the shifting of the earth with the heavens. Okay. So now that we know that, okay, this is the east point. We're going to see if this side going to be like to my right of this chart. Is this side going to be southeast, right? Southeast. And then to the left of me facing this chart, this part would be northeast. And we're dealing with it like a compass. We're going to see how the sun rise and go down after the sun complete the east point. So from that time, we're going to see how the sun, how he's going to rise and set. Okay, how he rises and set. Very important. Okay. Let me do the same with the other area. That's something to add to your notes. We're going to see if we have this in the correct way. I just love how the Father did everything. Look at this. This is so perfectly divided. So our two middle doors are the third and fourth door, dealing with the east point and the west point. Okay. And that's another thing the Father was letting me know. Also, this is the time of the year that the sun is going to directly set on the west point after it completes its day in the daylight part of its phase. Okay. That's something to look at. So if you miss your east point, how you can cheat, watch where the sun set in the west, position yourself like a compass, have your hand pointed towards the west direction where the sun set, and then across from your hand or opposite, take the other hand and point. And that's your east point. That's another way you can cheat. Okay. In other words, when you face the west, east is going to be behind you. And it should line up.
I have a question.
What's your question?
So basically, we just need to know the sun's point when the season come around, because the fall is coming. So we have to know the fall sun's east point and the west point.
By knowing that point is going to help you to know where you're in the calendar. For example, you're going to know if you're in winter, if you're in spring, summer, or fall. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you look at the heaven, it's like a compass. It has markers. And when you look at the markers in heaven, if you look at what direction the sun is rising and what the sun is setting, you will already know where you at in the calendar. For example, you would get an idea what month you are in. You would get an idea what season you are in, just by looking at the heavens. And then if the temperatures or the weather behave correctly, that too would line up. Then you understand why it's so cold, or why it's so hot, or why it's just right. You see what I'm saying? It's just like a clock. Also, when you look at the heavens, you want to pay attention how close the sun is to the earth. Is he high above the earth, or is he lower to the earth? Remember what we learned? Well, and that's right, you was in that class, but it's in the recordings of First Enoch chapter 72. No, it's in the recording of First Enoch chapter 74 and chapter 76, I believe, because we learn what the sun does throughout the year in the I don't know if it's done with the solstice, how it would be high at one point and then start lowering itself at another point. So by knowing that, if you ever get lost or lose track of time, you should be able to pick right back up. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. So it makes sense that the 6th month is the half point of the year, and proof of that, again, Enoch's writings, when we look at the light with the moon, we look at how many days. Okay, remember that 177 I was talking about? So that's how I know that the 6th month is dealing with the half point of the year. For the sun, it's dealing with how the sun entered to the 7th sign of Mazzaroth. Okay, and then for the 12th month of the sun, how the sun entered to the 1st sign of Mazzaroth. Okay, so everything kind of like lining up. We can just see how all this connected, and why these two doors are known as the middle doors, and why we are leaning more towards the 6th month and the 12th month, because it has to do with the equinox day. Okay. Another pattern I want to point out to you before we go to the next verse is when I did this chart for you, I know Sister Huda was sharing this with me. She saw the same pattern too. Notice how, let me see, when we look at the doors, started in the 10th month, it go right in order, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Then we go to the top of the chart because that's going from the 10th, 11th, 12th month, going to the first month of the sun. Then it's like 4, 5, 6. Then with the sun, it turns right back through the same door, but it works itself in the opposite way. It's going to start it in the 4th month. It's for 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1. And then it starts over again, going through that same door. This is dealing with the sun. Do y'all see that? That was another pattern we noticed. Do y'all hear that?
Yes.
Okay. So that's something to look at and to go back and reflect on 1 Enoch chapter 72. Okay. So a lot of good information. So we will be coming back to this question after the fall equinox pass to see what phase. Is it the dark moon or is it the new moon crescent? Let's see. Now we're going to get to verse 6. Y'all already read those verses out loud, so I'm just going to pick up. It says, the moon go out for 7 days and turn about and return again. Hold on, y'all. Okay, go back to my notes. Okay. It says, the moon go out for 7 days and turn about and return again through the door where the sun rises. And all her light is full. And she recedes from the sun. And in 8 days, enter the 6th door from which the sun go out. Now, this is something, y'all, I'm going to be honest. You're going to have to take your time and write it out. And I do want to compare to see what Charles have for this verse. So I'm going to copy and paste it to our notes. And let me get the link. So Charles had written this. The moon goes forth for 7 days and turns about and returns again through the portal where the sun rises and accomplish all her light, and she recedes from the sun, and in 8 days enter the 6th portal from which the suns go forth. Okay. So keep in mind, we got to remember the verses above, verses 1 through 5. Okay. So when we break down this verse, is letting us know when it said the moon go out, that means she's going to show herself for 7 days. And as she's showing herself, she is what? Increasing in light. So the moon is what? Increasing in light. So she is waxing. So the moon is waxing. I need to put I'm going to add a row. That's what I'm going to do. Move this thing out of the way. So I'm going to add a row to let us know she is increasing in light. Okay? And she does this for 7 days. Okay. And when it says she turns about and return again through the door where the sun rises. Okay. So the moon is going to turn about and return through the same door where the sun rises. Now, where does where does the sun rise, y'all? So we know what door that the moon is going to return to.
East.
In the east. This is very important. Now y'all see about the foundation, why it was so important for us to go back and learn the foundation, because as you get in Enoch's writing, it does get complex. Okay? This is very important. So this let us know that the moon comes out in the east. In the east. Okay? I'm sorry. I need to correct something. It's the part I left off. So when she go out for 7 days and she turns about and return again through the portal where the sun rises, what this is basically saying that on the 7th day, she's going to rise in the east. And when she rises in the east, she becomes a full moon. Okay? And when she's a full moon, she had received from the sun. That means she's opposite from the sun. She has pushed away from the sun. Okay? Sorry about that. Forgive me for that error, y'all. So when she comes out as a full moon, what this verse is telling us, she comes out in the east. Now we're seeing what verse 4 is telling us, how she has her own particular path, her own course, and how she altered her settings. Okay? Sorry about that, family. Forgive me for that error. Let's see here. Then it goes on to say, in 8 days, enters the 6th portal from which the sons go forth. So again, in 8 days, she's going to go into the 6th door. She's going to come out that 6th door where the sun rises. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop here because I do want to check on one more thing before we talk about verse 7 through 10. 7 through 10. I just want to check on something just to make sure. But this chart here will give you an idea that the moon does things different from the sun, but it's still according to the commandment of Yah. Verse 6 is also showing us that she still becomes a full moon in the east, which is expounded on verse 4. Verse 4. So we'll pick up on verse 6 when we come back. So I want to clarify one more thing. I just want to make sure. Okay. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed this lesson for today. As you see, we have so much to learn about these lights. So when we go out in the heavens to observe these things, we know what we're looking for. So family, keep a lookout for the equinox day so you can see what happens on that day. And I'm going to tell you, it's a beautiful thing to see how daylight comes in first, then the rising of the sun. And then the sun is going to define when your morning is, when your noon is, and when your afternoon is. It's also going to define when the evening begins as it's going down. Okay? That's a beautiful thing to see. So we can see what takes place. All right? All right, my family. I'll continue to preach that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, for it's truly at hand. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize the people in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, for the Lamb set the example of the Holy Spirit baptism and the water baptism. And his disciples continued in both. if you have no one to baptize you, then you can do it yourself. Exercise your faith with works. For Yahuwah has poured his spirit upon all his creation. Therefore, the water, which is the second witness in the earth, and his heavens and his earth can report back unto him of those who had entered into the renewed marriage. And the same is with the Holy Spirit baptism. All you have to do is ask our Father in heaven in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, and he shall give it unto you, according to your heart, your faith, and your works. Love you all, and shalom.